What's going on, guys? My name is WOLFWILL and welcome back to another video. Whether it is your first time here or you are a returning viewer, I hope you're all having a great day or a great night so far. So once again, we're back with another brief Spyro 4 related video, and this is one I thought I wanted to talk about because I saw a comment on my last video where I mentioned flight in Spyro 4, which was in my top 5 things we want in the game, and someone mentioned that Spyro 4 shouldn't have the flight and it should just stay as a platformer, and honestly, I completely agree, but you can still incorporate flight as something that can happen, and I'm going to explain 2 ways I've thought of in which flight could be added into Spyro 4 but keep it with the original formula of being a platformer, because obviously kind of ruins that essence, because obviously the original Spyro games adds that challenge of being a platformer and flight's only available in the flight levels or levels like Nasty's Loot. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the 2 possible ways that flight could be incorporated into Spyro 4. So I mentioned in that previous video that obviously he's going to start off not having that flight ability, but then he'll end up learning flight officially from some of his mentors. So that technically could be one way in which, of course, the start of the game, you don't have unlimited flight. It is still a platformer, but you will eventually have to learn flight later in the game for certain scenarios. So, like, there could be sections in levels where you're not going to be able to get to unless you have that flight, and you're not going to be able to have access to power-ups in this situation, although if they were to keep the power-up formula like they had in Spyro 2, for example, I would not mind that whatsoever, because it still adds that challenge of being the platformer. But perhaps later in the story itself, you might get into a scenario where flight is going to be an essential thing, like maybe for, say, a final boss battle where you're going to have to go between running on the ground or just being on the ground in general to then changing to flight, and by learning flight you're going to be able to have that little bit of an extra advantage compared to just being able to glide. Now technically I kind of just explained both options in a way, so to be specific, option A is sticking to the original formula of like, say you could have power-ups, or like obviously keep it as a platformer in general. Option B is Spyro will learn flight from some of his mentors later on, like some magic can be involved in which well, not magic, but just in general he's finally going to learn to fly because he'll be older, of course, so he's going to have that ability. But maybe what could happen is if we alter the second option a little bit, he would learn flight, but then he would end up, say, sacrificing that power in a way and go back to gliding. Now, what I mean by this is The Legend of Spyro has done a similar concept where, obviously, at the end of A New Beginning, you had, like, all 4 elements and you had Fury, but at the beginning of the Eternal Night, you had to basically relearn all the elements again, and that was because he sacrificed like part of his power, or he just used too much in which he was basically drained of his power. So what I'm saying here is that there might be a similar concept for Spyro 4 where he might end up sacrificing his unlimited flight and just go back to using the power-ups and just gliding in general. So I'm not really sure how that would work, but it would be a pretty interesting concept. And then if they end up incorporating it into future Spyro games after that, like getting his flight back, that is still possible, because obviously he's going to get older, so he's going to have to learn how to fly eventually. Like, he can't be flightless without power-ups forever. But yeah, it's a really interesting concept. So really, that's all I've got to say about the whole flight situation for Spyro 4. I just think this might be, well, either option could work. It just depends on the way, like, the developers, if Spyro 4 is in development, of course, like, how they want to take it and what would be more suitable. Because I'm okay with either way, but we can at least keep to the original formula of being a platformer, and obviously Crash 4 kept to that formula. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was a similar thing, so I think Spyro 4 should at least still honor the legacy of the classic games, and of course Reignited Trilogy, which was the remake of those 3 original games. But yeah, so what do you guys think? If you got anything in particular you want to add on to this, or anything else to say, then you can let me know down below in the comments, because I'm more than happy to hear what you guys are going to say. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you do like what you see, then be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on bell notifications to get notified of all of my uploads. And with that, thank you guys so much again, and until next time, I hope you all have a great day or a great night.